against PSG Talon, and with PSG Talon picking up that one win against Red Canids, this could be the game that pushes them over the edge. This could be the one that could set them up so well for making it into the next stage.
Absolutely, and I think if you're a CBLOL fan, you are praying the TCL come out right now, because we talked about on the analyst desk at the start of the show is that the rock, paper, scissors, better than it's the three-way setup. You need Istanbul Wildcats to come out on top here. You need them to have the advantage in order to make this the later games have a little bit more weight to them.
But as you can see, PSG Talon already kind of doing the same as we've already seen before. Lucian Ban, probably Samira, probably Kalista. There's the Samira. Can we get the 3 for 3 as we've seen pretty much every time against the Istanbul Wildcats? On the opposite side, though, as Raz was saying on the desk, we're starting to get a lot more attention towards Hanabi. You're kind of looking at like the Gangplank being banned away. Maybe you get the Nar, especially if they have a bit of PTSD from that incredible Hanabi ult yesterday. But we would not get to see it. It will be the Wukong taking off the board instead.
Yeah, we're going to ban away the Monkey King. Again, very powerful pick in its own right and very first pickable.
So here's the deal, right? You ban away the Kalista, well, then you leave Ahri open. So do you want to try and ban away the Ahri? Maybe we do actually mix things up here so that then you can get that pick away. But you do have to be so careful about giving these early game aggressive picks across the Holy Phoenix, because realistically, as we already said, like this whole team is basically built around trying to set up Holy Phoenix, and it will be taken off the board. Like if you look at his stats coming into today, he had a over 90% kill participation. That is insane for anybody to have.
Absolutely, and again, it just speaks volumes to the priority they put onto this guy and why they say, look, this is our carry, because they want to put as many resources into him as possible.
Well, we're gonna have the carry Ahri coming through for Saren instead. So I do feel like if you're looking at Ferret, maybe this opens up things like the Lee Sin that we've seen from him in the past, where maybe you can then start to work through the strong mid jungle, start to lean in down towards Holy Phoenix, which is oftentimes where Ferret and Saren's strength in this team comes from.
Well, let's see what PSG want to answer with. They are going to go with, I imagine that is the Graves. Yep, locked and loaded. And again, another champion that has just kind of risen to the forefront. Can be flexed technically into one of those lanes as well, but generally seen it in the jungle, and you just get great control. The Umbral Glaive Graves is just too good at just getting you set up and around objectives.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the ability to have that burst of damage is incredible, especially if you're going to pair it alongside this Vex. Like, good setup, great dive potential with the Vex, and if she can get that big amount of AoE burst damage off, following up with the Graves ultimate, can very quickly deteriorate the health bars of the Istanbul Wildcats. So let's see how they want to respond. Holy Phoenix look like he's going to go back towards this Kai'Sa. Had moments in the last game where he could was able to get some kills for himself, but overall definitely want to see a bit of a stronger 2v2, I will say, for Farfetch and Holy Phoenix. That last game went a bit awry very quickly for them.
Yeah, they will pick it up again. Again, the Kai'Sa does have an awful lot of good assassination tools, and of course can scale to be a late game monster. So you do have options with it. And I do think that now when you have the comboed with the Ahri, you will have some pretty good pick potential here on the side of the Istanbul Wildcats.
And this is where I think you could probe the question: support or jungle? I personally think support here, just because you've got like a lot of the junglers that are still open. So being able to just kind of go, okay, well, we've still got like a Jarvan, a Lee Sin, a Volibear, things that can provide that early game pressure with Ferret. I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So will be the Nautilus is taken on the opposite side, and you'll probably see something like the Leona come through here for Kaiwing in the bot.
See what they want to go for right now. They could just lock in their top lane or something safe if they decide to go it that way, but they're hovering through an awful lot of different options. They've got plenty to go with. I will say, though, with the Leona locked in, you now have in a situation where you don't have an AD carry, so all of a sudden your bans tend to kind of work against you a little bit.
And I'm curious to see what the game plan is going to be for Unified in that respect, because oftentimes you've seen kind of PSG Talon default back to things like the Aphelios, right? Because that has been what we saw from them in the PCS, where they were playing for these late game neutral 5v5s, and that can work out reasonably well for you, but definitely with the nerfs to Gale Force, Aphelios starting to fall off a little bit, so we'll have to see if that's what they want to go back towards. I think things like the Ezreal can still work wonders here, though, if you want to go for much more of kind of a self-reliant AD carry, especially when you're looking at, you know, Vex, Leona, even Graves all being very short range and wanted to dive in on top of Istanbul Wildcats.
Yeah, and I like the Xayah pickup as well. They're kind of just taking away the things that can do, you know, exceptionally well in that laning phase, things that you don't really want to have. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe even see the Tristana banned here by the side of the Wildcats, and we'll see where the last ban wants to go. Again, you ban the Viego, maybe you start to really hone in on that jungle pool, but no, they've got to go towards the top side and ban by the Tryndamere.
Yeah, that basically says to me, hey, look, we want to go towards an R pick here, and making sure that Hanabi will actually be okay. And I'm curious to see, though, what way they want to try and go about this, right? Because you could go for the Nara initially here, but then you're leaving the AD carry up. But yeah, there's the Nara ban. So now I think you're kind of looking, going, okay, well, PSG, what way do you want to try and go for this? I feel like you just pick up your AD carry anyway, probably the Ezreal, just to start yourself off relatively okay, but then you've kind of got to go and see what the counter pick is going to be. Okay, maybe not.
Or they go straight for the Gwen. They haven't locked it in just yet, so we will like to confirm that one before we start talking about it, but it is locked and loaded, and this is something that I know a lot of people will see is very weird on the red side, because again, you're kind of giving away the game right now and saying, look, there are things that can counter the Gwen, there are things that can do exceptionally well into her, and you've kind of just said, okay, we don't care what you throw into us.
Yeah, I feel like you could go for the Jace here for Starscreen if you wanted to. Like, Jace has been a really strong pick into the Gwen for a while, and look, the nerfs to his base armor and stuff like that aren't really going to matter into the magic resist matchup anyway, but we'll have to see. Is Ferret going to go back towards the Xin Zhao? Again, just an early game jungler that can work reasonably well, but now, again, like, the big question is, what do you want to go for on the top side here? Maybe just opt into the counter matchup and just go for the Ornn and go, look, I don't really care if Gwen's going to have a good time. I just want that big frontline engage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing with the Ornn or even something like a Gragas, it can just survive. It doesn't have to do exceptionally well in its own right, because it's later on in the game when you get that disengage, and especially against what you have built on the side of PSG. I actually really like the Gragas because of that explosive cast.
Yeah, I will say this matchup does absolutely suck for the Gragas though, because the Hollowed Mist means you can oftentimes dodge the explosive barrel, which you really need to get that disengage the Starscreen to make sure you're okay. So we'll have to see what the plan is, but this would be an interesting one. So, okay, we're not going to get it, but the Vayne is a counter matchup, the old traditional one, to the Kai'Sa, so maybe we do actually get it locked in.
No,
so close.
We broke the #1 rule. We don't talk about hovers.
But look, I think the Jhin works pretty well here as well. I mean, we're already talking about, a lot of front line, a lot of engage, a lot of dive pressure coming in for PSG Talon. Jhin can kind of facilitate that a lot as well, being open up with the curtain call, set up with the Deadly Flourish, a little bit of a self-reliant Eddie carried away as well, just because he has that mega long range. It means that he's kind of able to just do his own thing. So PSG Talon definitely setting up for these big team fights. That's the comfort zone. We'll have to see if Istanbul Wildcats can get this ball rolling early, set Holy Phoenix up for success, and see if they can bounce back against PSG Talon.
It's a big moment. It's a big game for both of these squads. PSG Talon would be able to put themselves onto 3 wins. It would be absolutely monstrous for them to be able to push forward and maybe even get into the Rumble stage. And for the Istanbul Wildcats, it is about getting yourself in sorted. Yes, you did have that loss just happen, but you need to forget about that. Come into this game clean, because again, we saw some fantastic moves from them, even in the loss.
And honestly, I wouldn't be massively disheartened if I was Istanbul Wildcats coming off of that last game. They gave it a all, and there were times where Ferret was really pushing RNG to the limit. So I'll have to see. I'm excited to see now how they can kind of, as you say, like, come back into this game. It feels like you've got the tools that fast-play Wildcats like to play with. Get this play around Saren in the early stages, unlock him from the mid game, link up with Ferret, lean to bot, lean towards the Dragons. This has been the Wildcats' way, and I want to see them continue that once more.
The way of the Wildcat. We will see if it shall be birds singing or cats purring, depending on how this game goes. We're going to jump onto the Rift. Those score lines are incorrect, but do not worry about those. Come back in. But again, both seeing kind of very early game centric junglers. I want to see now where Juhan's able to go, but he's caught between a rock and a hard place. I feel like if Wildcats had any information as where he is, he'd be very, very in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Juhan, though, just trying to play it safe. We'll traditionally start with the dash anyway, so going to be totally fine just being able to hop back up over the wall, but they will spot out in Sarah in mid, so kind of knowing that everyone's just fanning out, totally fine. And nobody really getting much information as to who is starting where or what the story is going to be. So I really think, at least at the get-go, the stronger mid-jungle being here for Istanbul Wildcats means that they can try and play aggressive here, set themselves up in the early stages if they can land some of these charms.
Do you think Gragas' belly has his own, like, jiggle physics? You saw him dancing there. Yeah, like, I mean, it was independent. Yeah, it was like independent of the rest of his body. It's cool. Yeah. Gragas is a really fun.
Someone going home after a long day of work and they're like, "Oh, how'd it go?" Honey is like, "Dude, I got the bounce. That bounce was perfect on that."
Absolutely. They will be spotted out here as they The middle brush wars shall continue as Farfetch does establish dominance here, but of course with the sweeper doesn't have his own wards popped down just yet. And we're going to have some pretty standard 2v2, and this is going to be an interesting one as well because I always love seeing the... You can always tell what way a support's going to play a matchup depending on if they took Aftershock or Glacial Augment. Both these supports took Aftershocks. They are looking to fight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to have that tankiness in it. It's super interesting when you always end up with this Leona Nautilus matchup just because, like, it feels like, okay, well, if Leona ends up taking the Glacial Augment into this matchup, well, then you've got the slow, which means that Nautilus no longer is considered the counter, which means that then you can play into it a little bit heavier, like play for the lane. But I think Farfetch kind of going, hey, you know, we'll actually have the push, we'll have a lot of the advantages in this lane, at least from the get-go, so I can actually go with a little bit prettier rune choice. It always comes down to these, like, really in-depth decisions that are pretty cool when it comes to just what rune you take here.
And it starts from the get-go. It starts from literally champ select in terms of how you want to try and make this matchup work for you. We did see a bit of a swing and a miss in that bot side. They got the level 2, but it was all for naught. And now we got Ferret on a full clear on his top side, and now looking for a little bit of an invade, or maybe not even invade, maybe a gank in the mid lane. They want to try and shut down Vex's Bay on Vex. Immediately he flashes. Well, he will dodge the W. The charm does not kiss him off, and that's going to be another little move here. But now Juhan, recognizing he might have an opportunity here, but a good ward from the bot lane of the Istanbul Wildcats keeps them in the know.
This is exactly what I wanted to see from the Wildcats, though. Like, play through Saren. Already the flash burnt, now you can go for a little bit more, and then you start to turn this back over towards the bot side. Like, we're talking, well, the two guys were talking on the desk about how we're starting to see comfort from the fast-paced Wildcats, back to basics, back to what we saw from them in the TCL. And I genuinely feel like this is the exact draft that we would see from them.
Gonna force an early teleport from Bay as well as he gets himself back onto the map and pick himself up the Doran's Ring and keeps himself nice and healthy in that mid lane in terms of the health bar. But not having that flash down, he needs to play that matchup very, very carefully because a flash W, a flash charm coming out from either the Xin Zhao or the Ahri respectfully could mean death in that lane.
I mean, you have to be so careful. And again, even if you don't necessarily fall to a gank, the fact you have to pay that much respect means that oftentimes you end up having to push against you. It opens up for Saren to start to roam, and you still end up falling behind on the map as well. So we'll have to see exactly how this one is going to start to pan out as we move forward, because it definitely feels like Istanbul Wildcats are setting up for some of these bot side plays, especially off the first reset that Fair will be going for just now.
See Kaiwing now using the reset timer to his advantage. He actually still has all of his utility at the moment. Hasn't used a single minion to Meteoralizer, still has his pots and everything, so he's sitting dandily in that bot side. Oh, Saren, that's a bit unfortunate. And we can come back into it again. Very slow early game coming out from both these sides. Good early aggression from the jungler, but it is going to come down to, I feel like, those big team fights. We see it from PSG in the last game. We're going to probably see it again. They're waiting for the Shadow Surge and such to get them those big advantages.
But that's the thing, right? Like, both these teams understand how important these matchups today are going to be. And it's always going to take a little bit slower, trying to feel out the game. And you can even look at like the way PSG are setting up here, right? Like, Juhan hasn't reset yet because he was sitting in the mid lane for Bay to make sure he could push in this wave. He even had Kaiwing as well, roaming up from the bot side to cover Bay. They're trying as much as they can to just deny this early game from the Istanbul Wildcats.
They're looking for it. Ferret has been very active around the map, has been looking to try and make things work for his team, but like you said, just hasn't really found an opportunity to go for it. They are clearing out some pretty decent vision though, so making sure that there's not perfect vision coming out here for PSG as the wave and bot lane gets pushed in. We are going to see double serrated Dirks. And actually, interesting enough, we have seen a little bit more of the Jhin. We normally associate Jhin with crit. He's actually been going pretty much exclusively this tournament towards that lethality and just trying to build himself up as that kind of long-range engage.
It's almost like Umbral Glaive is a really good item or something, you know?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the reason Graves is back in the jungle, the reason we're seeing Jhin going for it, is just Umbral Glaive is so incredibly strong, and when you've got two members on your team that can build it relatively easily, it does give you so much control over vision, especially because oftentimes you won't see Juhan and Unified, at least in the early stages, like working together. You end up just having so many opportunities to deny and have access to the vision to get rid of it for Istanbul Wildcats.
Well, Farfetch now on ward sweeping duty and pushes himself away. We did see a little bit of a bad moment there for Hanabi, who hasn't gone back just yet in this top lane, so he really wants a reset, and you can see that Wildcats know he does.
Yeah, they're already moving up. Ferret is not spotted. Seren had a pink to stop him from being spotted as well.
They're going to go for it. The ghost has been popped. He's going to try and get him charmed. Will need to miss. The charm completely whiffs, but is it enough damage at the back of this one? Explosive cast brings him all the way back, and Ferret picks up first blood.
Beautifully orchestrated by the fast pale Wildcats, able to get that quick kill onto the top side with the nice explosive cast. It does mean though PSG Talon are going to respond, pushing in the mid lane, getting control over this bot side jungle, and you can see Holy Phoenix and Farfetch as well respecting the potential cross map and giving up some of that CS in the bot lane.
And again, I like this from Starscreen. He recognizes it. He's going to start the proxy farm and saying, look, you have to pick up this wave. I can just stop it here. But actually, Juhan might be in a little bit of trouble here. Farfetch is going to find himself in a 2v1 situation. Actually, never mind. He doesn't want anything to do with it because I just look at the minimap. He has no friends. He has no family to help him out with this one. Juhan, though, needs to be very careful on the exit of this.
Yeah, no, he'll be fine to just walk out of it. Farfetch just kind of bluffing the fact that he has help. But I got to say, like, the kill for Istanbul Wildcats pretty nice on this top side, like they do get it, but losing out a lot of gold onto the bot side for Holy Phoenix may not be the best call, but we can see it here, right? Nice explosive cast here means they just get Hanabi back, and even the kill going over towards Ferret just in the end. I mean, when we come back into live, right, look at the... Oh, actually, I was going to say there's a big CS difference, but this big wave is meant to hit, so, I mean, once Unify can pick this all up, he's going to be in a good spot. And that's where I'm a little bit worried. I feel like you actually need to really get Holy Phoenix resources in this game, because when you look at like your main source of damage, who's going to actually provide that DPS in the later game, it's not going to be Starscreen top side. It is going to be Holy Phoenix that you need to focus on.
Well, we already see the early rotation coming out from the bot lane of the Wildcats. As we can see, PSG a little bit late on this one here, but they're already pinging. You can see it on the minimap there. They're saying, look, we want to contest this. We feel stronger right now. We have got access to the Jhin ultimate, but Holy Phoenix does not have his, and they have to respect that. So Wildcats, they try to go for a little bit of a late trade, but it's a bit too late, and they actually end up losing, and not losing, but Jane gaining nothing off of it.
Yeah, Holy Phoenix had reset, but was not moving up towards the top side, so you're not able to have that cover. Holy Phoenix moving back down to the bottom side, so Istanbul Wildcats not feeling as confident as they were, and it means that PSG now are in a good spot here to just keep this pressure up, especially when you look at Unified, who is going to be pretty fine to just wave clear boss.
Ferret, he didn't know he was being caught out. Now he's in a 1v3 situation. The Crescent Guard is not that great, and it's not going to do enough damage. Farfetch gets himself over the wall. Bay has to fall over with June as they try and just keep themselves alive. They are going to have the Dark Harvest come proc in, but there's Starscreen. Oh, Kaiwing! The flash to get in front of his carry to make sure he couldn't die. And now Hanabi on the Gwen can make something work, doing needlework on top of this backside. Flash forward from Bay, and that's PSG picking themselves up a 2-for-1 in the trade.
Kaiwing is a hero. What a play for the PSG Talon support. And this is why, honestly, every time we come to internationals, I'm excited to see Kaiwing. He's such a smart player in the way he tries to set things up. Unified, this is just going to do a little bit of tickle damage, but I mean, that win for PSG Talon, so crucial on the top side of the map.
What a time to get it as well. You're just getting the Umbral Glaive. You're able to set yourself up around the map. And this is just where, again, PSG, they've slowly been picking up steam. Yes, they did look a little rough. And it's very rough, I think, it's very honest, in the first game against the Red Canids. But they have been slowly building back, moving as if they were a unit. And again, like you said, just kind of getting back into the form we saw them in the PCS.
Yeah, and I mean, not even the form that we saw them in PCS in playoffs, right? It was like PCS regular season. This was where PSG Talon honestly struggled a little bit in the playoffs over in the PCS, where their bot lane wasn't able to get themselves set up. But as you can see here, Kaiwing firing all cylinders. Bay sets up beautifully, gets the kill, gets the reset. Farfetch flashing that little bit too early means he actually brings Bay over the wall. And Seren, I like the idea here, right? You've got Starscreen coming, but Kaiwing beautifully gets in front of the belly bop, and that puts a stop to this entire play for the Istanbul Wildcats.
How does Kaiwing not die? What HP is he on right there? And it just baits in the Ahri because the Ahri thinks they're getting the reset.
Heroes never die. They always live on through word of mouth forever and ever.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's what I've learned. But now we can see now a little bit of an overextension here from the Istanbul Wildcats. They're going to try and make this one a bit of a scrappy affair as they jump onto Bay, and Bay's been taken out. Farfetch saying, anything you can do, I can do better. He also gets out with single-digit HP. Unified just kiting this one back, does not land the deadly flourish. Farfetch, you need to leave, my son. Get out of there. You have survived, and now you need to go away. But it is a trade back and the Wildcats still looking to try and find advantages.
I'm loving this Immortal Supporto combat. Like, this is absolutely stellar. Farfetch just about eking his way back out. But again, like, we're trading so heavily back and forth, 3 for 3. The gold is within touching distance, and you're starting to see that a lot of that is going on to the key carries on the Istanbul Wildcats. But you'll see here, right, Saren just manages to back away, sets up nicely to pick off Bay before he can really get this like big damage off this AoE CC. And even Juhan there, just not quite able to connect onto Farfetch. And from this point forward, Istanbul Wildcats try to follow up, but just not quite able to get what they need.
It's the power of the Ari. You know, you're coming around, you're getting yourself one charm lands, and it's going to be a very different fight. But luckily, with the side of PSG Talon, they do not get caught out by any of those temptresses. As we can see now, Farfetch, he's thinking something's up. He has his spidey sense, and what happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? We'll see which one ends up dying, but they just back away. They respect the law of neither of them allowed to die.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're both main characters on their team. They're not allowed to die. Then we got to rewrite the whole series. That's not how this goes. Oh, hang on.
Oh, they're going to maybe go for this one here. Kaiwing just kind of respecting it and saying, look, I know you have no friends. I know you're not going to be able to kill me right now. And there's some fantastic vision control here around this pit. So PSG very happy to keep that stack going.
I'm playing towards the strengths of the team, right? Getting these early dragons, playing towards those neutral objectives. This is what we expect from PSG Talon, and they're setting up beautifully for it. And even when you look at like where these kills are going, right on towards Hanabi on this Gwen, going to be a massive carry in these later fights. Bay as well, 1-1 and 2. This guy is going to be able to dive in onto players like Holy Phoenix, cause a ruckus in the Istanbul Wildcats backline, and it's going to be on these Wildcats to see if they can fight back, if they can find moments for the TCL to take the win for themselves.
Like I said, the goal lead, you can see it there. Just difference is kind of a couple of hundred between the mid laners, a couple of hundred between the bot lane. It was not exactly a lot, but Eclipse has been finished up by Unified. We do generally see the Umbral Glaive being picked up first, but he's recognizing the fact that he's going to have a little bit of extra team fighting to deal with in the next few minutes. We do see Shelly getting dropped down into mid lane, so not going to be able to get themselves anything else, just the 2 plates going over to Juhan, and everyone from PSG then backs away.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the gold here, right? It's almost dead even across the board, and at the moment that gold is dead even across the top of your screens as well, so this game is really waiting for that one breakout moment, and it feels, at least with PSG Talon, starting to get the vision control, playing in the fog of war.
They've got it. They're not going to be able to get a surge, but they will pick up the kill. It was a couple of different missed skill shots, but at the end of it all, the Nautilus will finally get taken out.
Oh, Hanabi gonna run into Starscream, but nice little quick trade from the Gragas there. But I mean, great pick for PSG Talon, right? And this is kind of what you can do with your map control. Why PSG Talon have been so deadly when it comes to their vision control across MSI.
They caught him now, Unified now. They might try and put the Kaisa in here. They're going to see they get on top of this one here, but the Solar Flare is good. Ferret trying to see if he can do some damage, but they can't quite get it. Holy Phoenix on the backside, not quite able to assassinate Unified, who flashes away. Now Kaiwing and Juhan are there. Bay flashes over, gets the 2-man charm, but he's not able to go for it. Now Farfetch has rejoined, and he stopped the curtain call. Holy Phoenix takes down Bay, but just as he thought he could get the kill and run away, he gets taken out. Juhan will walk away, and it's a scrappy affair, and at the end of it all, it's a 2-for-1.
I am loving this game. The blood going back and forth. This game is so close, and it will be PSG Talon who are just that 1 kill up because they got the pick earlier on, but I mean, everyone throwing the kitchen sink at each other. And it's just so back and forth.
It has to be right now because, again, the Wildcats, they know they need to be trying to get some momentum. They're losing at the moment, so I love the fact that they're taking these fights and not letting PSG just have their way with the match.
And for PSG, at least you're getting some kills onto Bay, but Holy Phoenix now with the Kraken Slayer completed, he's starting to get to that dangerous spot, and you can see here how much work he can do. Dives on into the backline after this CC comes through. Like, Ferret goes down, but I mean, 2v3. Holy Phoenix forcing flashes out of Unified. Saren playing so well on the edge of these skill shots to make sure they're able to pick up everything. And I gotta say, the Nautilus, the hero play once more from these supports, stopping Holy Phoenix from falling to that curtain call.
It is just those small little moments. He didn't hesitate. He went over the wall. He knew exactly what he needed to do. So we come back into live. It's a minute 30 until Dragon spawns. But I look at all the summoners that were burned. Top lane is an island that can be left to be done. But you look at the side of the Unified, Bay, Kaiwing, Farfetch, Holy Phoenix, Saren, hell, even Ferret. Everyone lost their flash in that last engage. And we have a Rift Herald to fight over.
Oh, I'm so ready. PSG, though, do hold control. And again, just look at the vision control they have. Like, littered wards everywhere. Istanbul Wildcats have no idea what is going on in this river. Just one ward at the back of the pit is all they really have. So we'll spot Juhan out maybe on the edge of that. But, oh my God.
Oh, that was an insane hook. And Unified is dead. What was that for the Nautilus? I've never seen a lollipop like that. Hanabi trying to join in, but they've already lost 3. It's a double kill coming in here for Saren as they get another hook. Farfetch is just carrying these fights, and the Wildcats get their kill.
The supports are popping off. Farfetch with the hook onto Unified shuts down PSG. And just when you thought that maybe the PCS had been able to get some semblance of control, Istanbul Wildcats fight back.
What a great way to start that game. And again, it talked about it. That last team fight meant that when you're setting up for this Rift Herald, it's a big 5v5. You don't have the flashes. If you get caught out, you are dead. And now you've got control, mid lane, top lane, bot lane. Everything is going to be going in your favor.
And again, look at where the kills are situated. 3 kills in the mid laner, 3 kills in the AD carry, and beautiful from Farfetch. Just Unified going too far forward, tries to get the Deadly Flourish for some poke. And Farfetch says, thank you very much, I fetched myself an LAD carry. Dinner's on me, boys.
They're just able to take out the TP. They get another hook off of that as well. But now that the 3 kills have gone in, as we get a little bit, oh
no,
that's really sad. But coming back into live, we got the Dragon spawn, and we're going to have another team fight coming in. You still don't have flash on Unified or on Bay. And now even at this point, Juhan's lost his. So we are dealing with a lot of down summoners.
Yeah, and I mean, you're just about to be cleansed, popping over for Holy Phoenix. He's in a good spot. You got Saren with his ultimate backup as well. So PSG, very split.
We go. Hanabi trying to see if he can get the flank off. If Gwen can get onto the backside, it could be absolutely detrimental. Going to go for the long way around about Red Buff. But with the Dragon being spawned, Hanabi trying to see the go for something, but you can see with the Shadow Surge straight onto Holy Phoenix. Holy Phoenix has to ult away. They might be able to turn this one back around as Unified tries to get something done, but Starscream disrupts him, and they take him out. It's going to be jungler for a supporting jungler, but look at Saren. Saren is popping off, and Saren's got himself a double. Unified tries to join back in, but Starscream keeps him away. You cannot walk forward when this Gragas is around, and now Hanabi is left all alone. The charm will not land, and they got everybody backed out.
They dodged, duck, dip, dive, and dodged their way completely out of that one. Holy Phoenix, how did you survive? They threw everything at you. By all rights, you should be dead, but he just ekes his way out. And just like that, now Istanbul Wildcats get their first dragon of the game.
This is a Hex Soul as well. This extra little bit of ability haste, the extra attack speed, it does wonders for your team. And if you're able to get that stacking going forward, that could be huge. And all of a sudden, the momentum of this game, the momentum of this group is starting to shift a little.
Yeah, I mean, look, the rock, paper, scissors, it has to stand. So it is written, so it will be. But the Holy Phoenix, like, wow, just getting that ultimate away from the curtain call bullet, even getting the last little bit of poke as he goes down. And then from this point forward, right, Starscream zoning off the Unified means that Saren is able to just move so efficiently around this fight. And I honestly thought Hanabi would have the damage to carry this, but Saren played that so well.
Oh, Bay, he's got flash, but as he got a way out, he's going to try and make this one work. Shadow Surge goes in, but he goes down. Ferret's getting it, and all of a sudden the TCL are starting to rev.
Yeah, PCS starting to sweat a little bit, and Istanbul Wildcats, they're bringing it back. We'll get top tower off that play. PSG going to see if they can try and get this mid lane turret in response, though.
Going to be able to try and take this one out. Shouldn't be too hard. You've got double AD carries in the Graves and the Jhin. And they do open that one up. It will be answered back on the top side, so it's a turret for a turret and a little bit of extra kill gold going over the side of the fast pay Wildcats. Now, we got a little bit of a respite. We got time to set things up and look at different things. As Hanabi, he's immune.
Yeah, the fun part of playing against the Gwen. But
that was exactly what you talked about in the pre-games. It's not fun for Gragas.
What is fun though for the Istanbul Wildcats is how much control now they will have on the map, right? They got the tier 1 in the top side. They should be able to keep control over the mid lane as well with how far ahead Holy Phoenix is, so he gets to push in a little bit. And it's all about trying to set up your vision control before these next few objectives. 3 minutes until the Dragon. And one of the things we've seen from PSG Talon, not only today but throughout MSI, is just how effective they are at moving over into these objectives first, setting up the vision control at like a minute and a half before the objective, and it means that it becomes really difficult for teams to try and push in to get back control over these neutral objectives. And I want to see now if Istanbul Wildcats have kind of learned from that and are going to be able to deny them access into the river and deny them access to a third dragon.
Look at the itemization as well. Stopwatch for the Gragas, stopwatch for the Xin Zhao. A fully completed Sonya's for Farfetch. He knows what his job is. He doesn't need the locket right now in terms of individual stats. He needs to get it engaged and stay alive for as long as possible.
And I mean, he's been doing a phenomenal job of it as well. I mean, Unified has felt the brunt of that already, but Farfetch will need to now just step away, as a lot of members of PSG are situated around this mid lane, but it does give time to push outside lanes as Istanbul.
They're going to be able to push this one in, Hanabi. Let's see if he can make something work here, and we'll be able to take out this turret. So Starscreen now in a little bit of trouble. We will see the explosive cast that only hits into the wall. There's going to be the needlework doing good work. The Starscreen needs to flash away. He's being chased down and taken out. Solo Bolo on the bottom side, and this Gragas all of a sudden can't really hold a candle to the Gwen.
Yeah, Starscreen just stayed too long, and this is the problem with this matchup. You don't have the control over the side lanes, and when Hanabi's able to take over, this is now where you've got a split push problem, and Istanbul Wildcats don't have dragons where they can kind of go, okay, well, you know, we can force fights from PSG Talon. So now Hanabi gets free reign on these side lanes to cause terror.
He gets this turret. There's no one to answer. No one has even decided to go bot lanes. That's 2 turrets and a kill. And what was it, 2,000 goldine back down to about 800. They're going to try and see if they can maybe just stop his back as Ferret jumps in. Wind Become Lightning does not land, but he's going to go in anyway. He knows they've got a TP advantage. They're going to try and maybe force this fight. Hanabi, though, is very powerful as Holy Phoenix jumps straight back in and gets the shutdown. A little bit of an overextension there from Hanabi, and Wildcats punish.
Yeah, just end up getting caught out in the bush on the reset, and Istanbul will get the kill bot. And especially when you look at where PSG were situated on the map, it's not like they're in a position to actually push back. Instead, it's Istanbul Wildcats who are starting to push in mid and maybe get this mid lane turret.
Good wave clear though. Charm lands and the hook as well. Welcome to the bounce house. You are not allowed to leave.
Hook, line, and sinker. Istanbul Wildcats, they are coming alive again in this game, and PSG, they're just starting to crumble. Picks coming across, overextensions in these lanes, and it's giving so much control to the TCL.
Control, pace, priority, so many things are going the way now of the side of the TCL representatives, and this is a huge, massive matchup for them, because not only are we seeing it from them as an individual team, but as a region. This could be one of huge historic moments for them, getting to the Rumble stage, getting to play with the big boys on the big stage.
And with 15 seconds until the next Dragon, it feels like they're in a good spot for the fight. Looks like, honestly, with the way PSG Talon are moving, they're not even going to try and contest this, and I kind of agree with them. You already have 2 Dragons, you're not under a lot of duress. Just look to get Hanabi as far ahead as possible, get control on the map, and then you can start to play out your game a little bit better when you actually have a little bit more control over the way this game is going.
Yeah, they're going to give it up now, take the gold in the top side and give up that second Dragon. That's going to start stacking up right now, so you got to be careful of how much you're giving away. Hanabi going to find Saren, as these are the 2 big solo laners there. You gotta be careful, man. That charm is pretty big. They actually left Ferret on his own. The Shadow Surge will land. He maybe has a Crescent Guard. We're gonna go up to the top side as Juhan's been caught out. We can go back down towards the Dragon and see that one going on as both junglers been caught out. He goes golden, but is taken out. I don't know if you really wanted to use your stopwatch there, man. It felt like you were dead to rights.
I mean, they were trying to see if they could hold on for Saren to get there, but just that bit too long, and now it's not looking so even, I will say, as both junglers are gone. Istanbul Wildcats going for it.
They burn this right now because you've got a 3-item. Yeah, they've got a 3-item Kai'Sa. The resets came in. This is so massive for the side of the Istanbul Wildcats. But a TP's coming in on this one. This is going to be Hanabi making the move. He has to pop down the mist immediately. It's a double TP. His Bay is there. He doesn't have the Shadow Surge. But we can see Kaiwing using those Hex Gates as Holy Phoenix needs to run away. He flashes away. The Nautilus is dead. Starscreen cannot really survive. survive this, has to use the explosive cast in the Evercross, but it is all PSG calling the bluff, and when you have a Hex Rift, it is so crazy. Saren comes back in, and they're going to try and find Hanabi. There's going to be the reset coming in.
The ult is nearly there.
They nearly get him off there.
Saren
does have an ultimate, but he gets rooted by the deadly flourish, and that's going to be the shutdown going up to Hanabi. It's so back and forth, and now PSG, they might fancy their chances.
They definitely do. Farfetch is dead. Saren is dead. Istanbul Wildcats, their bellies were bigger than their eyes. They tried to eat too much, and now PSG are here, but ding, ding, ding. I'm feeling a round two.
Round two, let's fight. 5v3, Starscreen is here. There's a lot of vision control. They need to go in now. 2000 Baron, I think they're trying to look for this one. There's the Shadow Surge. They jump back in now. Ferret will not be able to get near the pit, and now the fight can really happen. Holy Phoenix jumps in on the backside, but he can't do anything. They will pick up the jungler. They will get themselves the Baron, and control is back in the PCS representatives.
But it had gone so well for the TCL. They were already starting to get control of the game. Both junglers get picked off, and they just tried to burst down the Baron, but they needed to turn quicker. They didn't realize there's going to be Hanabi, who, look at the amount of stuff he just dodges off rip the second he comes in. Holy Phoenix is getting peppered down with shots in the back line, and the whole fight falls apart for the Istanbul Wildcats. Even here for Saren, look at how close his ultimate is to coming back up. He tries to buy space so then his teammate can reset on the top side, but has to go golden, has to wait for the ultimate to come through, and unfortunately for him, the CC is there and they lock him up.
Come back in, and again, this is just Bay and Kaiwing recognizing what they needed to do. Play bouncer, play bodyguard. You cannot walk forward on top of this, and as soon as they try, they get punished.
And here you can see Holy Phoenix tries to get that big burst damage off, but there's just so many ways to avoid a Bay with the stopwatch. Immune for Gwen, and PSG showing that they are not immune to being able to find these fights, find the moments to fight back.
Bay is on a bit of a flank. There's no charm. They're going to be forcing Kaiwin to get hooked up. As we can see, there's the Zonya's good explosive cast to try and disengage, but now Unify can open up with the curtain call. I think you just got to give up your Nautilus here, boys. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And I don't think they can actually get in front of this wave right now. So they might actually lose their inhibitor, because they will just melt turrets again. You have a Graves, a Jhin, and a Gwen. They will just burn through this until it was paper. 4 versus 5 as well, and you've got good poke from Unified, so you just can't really hold on to the turret. Hanabi stepping for Proudly, level 16 on this Gwen. She will hurt a huge amount if she's actually able to get on top of you. Got a couple of low health bars though, whereas Navi's a little bit isolated, but skip and snip means that he's able to keep himself healthy and alive as mid lane gets pushed in. This is going to be more gold going over with the Red Bull Baron power play. This is just more resources going over to PSG, and this Gwen on 3 items is starting to become a bit of a nuisance. They don't have TP on top of Starscreen, so I don't think they're going to be able to go for it, but they're going to look to try and maybe make a play. They don't know exactly where everyone is. Now they know exactly where everybody is, but it's a bit disconnected, and Saren doesn't have a huge amount of mana.
But if, they were just trying to see if they could stop the resets coming through. With 50 seconds on towards Dragon, the longer you can delay the resets, the better you'll be able to get yourself set up on this bottom side, because right now there is very little vision in favor of Istanbul Wildcats, not even at Dragon, just across the map in general. But with those Hex Gates being able to get PSG talent back out onto the map, now PSG are already in a position to fight, and Kaiwing looking for the flank.
Kaiwing's coming in. He's going to try and land down the Solar Flare, and absolutely will get it. There is the Shadow Surge as well, and they're going to be able to find Ferret. He has to go force it to GA. They're going to have the curtain call coming in, stop Holy Phoenix from really joining in on top of this fight, but he jumps back onto the back side as they finally take down the Xin Zhao. Some low health bars on the side of PSG, but they are pushing back the Wildcats. These birds of prey pushing forward, and Hanabi with the needlework knows he can get some stuff done. He is immune, he is Gwen, and he is unstoppable right now. PSG thought they were losing momentum, but they turned it right back around.
And now they get to go straight back for the Dragon as well. PSG Talon have managed to accumulate a 5,000 gold lead, coming back from the deficit, coming back from what felt like the brink. The PCS looking to see if they can go 3-1 in the group.
How do you come back from this as Wildcats? You've got to be looking at this fight, because again, you're just getting run down. You can't, you're trying to hold on to summoners and spells because you need them for the fight, but if you die, then there's no point.
And it's just Istanbul Wildcats not respecting the Hex Gates, not realizing how quickly PSG can get back out onto the map. And Kaiwing with a wonderful engage. The supports have been so crucial to these fights, and this time it's Kaiwing who sets up PSG, and Hanabi knocks them down.
We always look towards Holy Phoenix. We always talk about him and how important he is to this team, but he has been singled out, targeted on, and just taken out every single time. There's no way he can have an impact in these fights, because before he even goes for it, you can see Unified pops up on the curtain call and he starts peppering them down. How can you deal with that?
And that's why it's so hard for this this Kaisa, even just coming through from the draft. As he said, you've got like the CC you got to worry about from Bay. You've got Hanabi, who's playing on the front line with his Hollowed Mist. Kaiwing taking shots of you. Even Unified, you can't really get onto him in the back line, so it all ends up too hot to handle, and Holy Phoenix can't do very much. Good old.
Yeah, you'll take that trade though as Kaiwing. He doesn't really care for a solo player, because again, there's so many other options available to PSG. You're kind of relying on a lot of outplay maneuverability coming out from Ari and Saren. He's gonna be missing that ultimate.
Yeah, at least a little bit of time to get that ultimate back out, right? 50 seconds until the Baron, but at PSG again, playing around their vision. Look how much vision is just established on this top side of the map right now. There's like absolutely nothing that they're able to do. It feels like they're going to be running in completely dark this whole time, which sets up for Bay for night blanks, sets up Hanabi to get into position. Even Unified is going to be straight, just chilling in river as he's taking these shots across Istanbul Wildcats.
And you can see already with the double, with the Umbral Grave, excuse me, it's just so hard to try and move on to this, as well as that Jin just has so many traps laid out that you have to try and deal with them. If you don't get them out, you will just end up proccing them like this. We can see there's going to be the Solar Flare coming out again, and it's just a trade back every single time. Solar Flare on a much shorter cooldown than the Spirit Rush. It's just a better trade each time, and now without that, Shadow Surge onto Farfetch. Bay flashes in and gets the personal space out. That's going to be the fear out, and you can see Saren has nowhere to go and no place to be. Now the curtain can come down on top of the Istanbul Wildcats as PSG establish massive dominance in this group.
I mean, Farfetch and Holy Phoenix, a two-man unit that has just got to one. The Wolf Pack has fallen apart. The Wildcats are gone. A PSG Talon will be looking for the 3-1.
He's going to go in. You can see this is what the Kaisa can do when given time, but this is just so difficult. 1v4, not quite sure you needed the flash there, but it does not matter. It is going to be PSG Talon going to 3-1 in this group, and the rock, paper, scissors has been broken.
And finally, we get to see the PCS living up to the expectations that has been set for this region for so damn long. It started with Flash Wolves. PSG Talon have kind of taken that spot now as that top team from the PCS. And now it looks like they will have secured themselves, at least for the moment, moving on to that next stage.
Big wins, 2 big wins coming out for PSG. They obviously have 2 more games to play against RNG today and of course later on in the weekend. But what a fantastic place to put you in. Now you gotta hope you take down RNG now as either the Fast Pay Wildcats or the Red Candidates. You have to take the fight to them, and that is no easy feat.
No, definitely not. And that's why this was such a crucial game for PSG Talon, being able to put themselves that one step ahead. Having that little bit more breathing room against RNG is going to work wonders for them. And unfortunately for the Istanbul Wildcats, it was so close.
Yep.
They got themselves into the right position. They're starting to get the fights going their way. They were getting the picks, but unfortunately for them, that one Baron call all made it fall apart.
It does feel like on the biggest of stages, that's when you're going to be tested. That's when your shot calling, your decision making, the ideas that you come up with as a team are going to be called into question. I still think that, yes, they probably saw something that, you know, unfortunately for them, just wasn't there. And with the Hex Gates, the idea that you can get back